And good afternoon. Today is Thursday. Wow, can you believe it? It is the end of the week already, and it is August 26th. Dave is on assignment today. Yes. So you have me, and of course, Beth, the deaf and hard of hearing. Woohoo. And I am so excited about our guest today. Isn't he handsome? I'm just saying. Okay, smile for the people.
You
Smile.
gotta you gotta tell a joke.
No, oh, look. So, do y'all notice anything? Yes, 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 yes. Well, he is Joe. He was born Joshua Gerard Singh. But you know how when you get famous, y'all change our names and stuff like that. hmm So he's famous. He wants me to
No.
make him. He wants me to make him laugh. I'll make him laugh. So when he was in the Escape video, when they were all coming back together and they started their first tour, they were getting ready to get on their tour. They were releasing some of their new music, and my son here, Mr. Gerard Singh, was the love interest for Tiny in the video. And I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. They was all in the kitchen and she was just like singing and rubbing and touching. I said, oh, hold on. Hold on. I'm about to fly down in my wheelchair. I said, because me and T.I. finna get into it because Tiny was just a little too excited. When she was just singing her song and doing all like this. I said, oh, Jesus. Because, he liked to be on set and everything. And I said, oh, a mama's job is never done. Just never done. I don't care how grown they get. I was ready to fight. T.I. He's just like, man, it wasn't that serious. I said, Josh, you didn't see I'm a woman. You was like, hold on, let me do him. I was just acting. I was, just doing my job. I said, but she a woman. And she saw all that chocolate. I was in the kitchen. She said, oh, Lord, I don't know if she got type 2 diabetes, but I promise you. She saw all that chocolate and was like, yes, God. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. See, Beth, you understand me, don't you? Beth understands. She understands. So how are you today, sir? And I mean, your docket is always full. I'm excited. How did I end up getting you today?
Today was a treat. We just had some scheduling things going on, so I'm here. I'm always here, present behind the scenes. You guys just don't see me a lot, but I'm always working behind the scenes. So I'm here today in the forefront.
So can you tell people what is it that you do about behind the scenes? So you get to be in front of the camera and behind the camera. He said, so I'm just like a baby Tyler Perry, I'm in the
Yeah, I'll be honest. Really, I've kind of coined myself. My friend down here, her name is Jess. She was on the show maybe about a month ago, talking about mental health. The skin esthetician, ex-veteran as well. I met her a few years back, and literally when we met, we connected, and she coined me as, and I looked this up. It is a term, kind of a business savvy term, but she said, "You're a kingmaker." A kingmaker is somebody who brings people together. They just kind of know a little bit about everything. They're good with networking. They're good with people. And they're good with just bridging the gap and building relationships. And that's one thing that I do. Teresa's laughing. That's something that I kind of pride myself on in relationships. No matter what you're doing, it's all about the people. And I keep that first and foremost, besides just respect and also having that personal encounter with them where it's pleasant. I'm learning from them, they're learning from me, and there's an even exchange there. So you asked me, original question, what do I do? I pretty much do a lot. I do a lot of different things. The capacity for the hat I wear for 100 Shades of Disability, L3C is producer of this show. which is our social media extension, more or less community outreach too, because we are reaching the people in vast numbers. So this is our media component. And then also I help in on some admin things as well with the company. And then I am I would say, liaison and confidant for the founder CEO. So we bounce ideas off each other together to really just streamline and move forward what the agenda is set for us to do and helping serve its people, and really tapping into that area and space that people really overlook in society. So that's kind of my lane. I procure and secure talent as well. So we have some awesome guests, as Miss Clayton was on a few weeks ago as well. She's on there. I see her on Facebook, her comment. But we really get people from all walks and spectrums of life to really address that issue of what is a disability, and just breaking it down in the simplest form of saying, hey, I may be living with somebody with a disability. You know, I may be afflicted by a disability or affected in some way, shape, form, or another. Also, the mental side of things, the things you can't truly see, that's not even more or less missing a limb or being in a wheelchair or having an oxygen mask or tank. There's things people go through on a daily basis that they may or may not talk about. So everything from mental health, we deal with everything from, you know, talking about benefits with when it comes to being a service veteran that has served. How you doing, Sanders? That has served our country, you know, with pride and dignity. We talk about those things. So my job is just kind of bring everybody in a room together and make sure everybody is on the same page. We're a cohesive unit, and we're really servicing our people, which I feel that this platform serves as that.
I think one of the things that I talked about today, we do have a major announcement coming up that 100 Shades of Disabilities is a part of. And as I was working on that prior to coming onto the show, we talked about the impact that 100 Shades of Disabilities is making. And sometimes I don't always, I'm not going to cry because I cried for like almost a whole hour about it, that I know what racism is. I know what sexism is. And I said, I'm 55 years old. I have dealt with racism and sexism all my life. But this beast that is called ableism, it's so different. It's so different. And I didn't realize the anxiety and the depression that has just kind of been there. I'm used to always moving. And didn't realize how it was affecting me until I came in today, and to know that, number one, a person of color, being a woman, being a veteran, being a person with a disability, that I'm leaving a legacy that is going down in history with this project that is happening. And I think the reality of it just hit me in a way that I didn't think that it would, because I know how to deal with racism. I know how to deal with sexism, but ableism is just so different, and people don't even see color or sex when it comes to a person with a disability. It's just like, oh, you know, you're treated like like your puppy. It's like, oh, okay, you get this 6 month, you have a puppy, and you know it's 6-8 weeks old, and you're trying to train it, and when it pees on the carpet, you're just like, oh, you know, and you pat it on the head. It's like, it's gonna be okay. To have someone treat you like that, some days it's just difficult to accept, or to tell you that you can't because of, oh, you're in a wheelchair, or begrudge you something because you are a person with a disability, and it makes you feel as if you're almost like you're a non-person. What I was saying to the person that I was speaking with today And I said,
Mm-hmm.
persons who were in the Holocaust, those Jews, some of them were extremely affluent. They had
Mm-hmm.
wealth. I'm not saying that I'm not talking about being rich. They were wealthy. They had a history with a family name, a community, and they had heirlooms. And when Hitler and his people came in, they stripped them of everything. They took their wealth, they took their name, they even took, the very clothes that they had on their back, and they made them a number.
Mm-hmm.
They were just a number that was tattooed on their body, and they were given, these clothes to put on. I couldn't even imagine, being nameless and faceless, homeless, and just have everything taken away from you that you identify as who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And persons who acquire a disability, and in no way am I comparing myself to that, but that's what happens. You no longer, I was no longer Kimberly, the mom, the friend, um, the advocate, a homeowner or a renter, or your church friend, or a minister. Whatever titles, whatever I had was just gone. Now you're just this nameless, faceless person who's in a wheelchair that has to depend on other people for survival. I thought about how I was left. It was 6 below 0, and I was left on a sidewalk by a paratransit system worker, 2 buildings away from where I lived. And I asked, how was I supposed to get to my building and get in? Because it's a door-to-door service. And I was just left on the sidewalk. And it was just like, I don't know, that's your problem. You need to figure that out. My job is only, I just got hired. They were a new hire. And they said, our job is, we get you out, we get you on the sidewalk close, and the rest is on you. And I was like, wow. Wow. And when I think about, the things that I experienced, being in the chair, and there was, number one, no ramp to come out of the front door. There wasn't a cutaway to the on the sidewalk for me to get out into the parking lot. And so the lowest point of the sidewalk was by the dumpsters. And so I would have to wheel all the way down to the end of the complex in the garbage behind the dumpsters.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my life for almost 6 years. And to get to this point, and just to have a platform to be able to assist and to include you, just has been phenomenal for me.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, just I'll be honest with you. I'm not familiar with. We've never had anybody personally. I would say we have, but Bishop was a little special. He was a little different. I would say just because I didn't see his handicap, I didn't see him being blind. And for those who don't know, Bishop is my grandfather. I call him Bishop because he was a bishop in the church world as far as his title and role, and then Pop for Papa or Dad version. So we call him Bishop. We've always called him that. So I would say I didn't really see him being blind just because he got around so well. And I think a lot of that was sight that God gave him to get around. I mean, he literally, you would walk out, he would turn his head, he would, his movements, his mannerisms, even if you told a joke, he laughed, he literally looked your direction as he could literally see you. So I didn't really see how he was afflicted by his disability. And I was jaded and blinded to that. But now being in this service where I'm actually helping people. I'm connecting the dots. I'm meeting people, and I'm noticing a lot more. It's almost like when you get a car, you get a Ford Taurus, and then you start seeing all four Tauruses on the
But
road,
you never
right?
saw them before.
Never saw them before. Exactly. You never seen before. And now you just all you see is four Tauruses, or hey, I got a Jeep, and now I just see Jeeps everywhere on the road, and you notice it because now it's in your psyche, it's in your daily every day. So now that I'm dealing with people with what happens is it's laws of attraction. I'm literally attracting people with disability. I don't know how it is, but I'm attracting people who are saying, hey, what do you do? What are you about? You know what? I'm struggling with this. Hey, I'm going through this, and I'm literally being peacemaker, or I'm bridging the gap, or saying, hey, I know somebody, or what can I do to help you? So it's a service type role for me, and I'm just gonna say I love to serve. When I was in church, I served. I love to serve my family and help when I can. I've always been a people person where I want to give, and this is a perfect opportunity and space for me to do that. So first, I just want to say thank you to 100 Shades of Disability for giving me that platform to help people in a way that I would never know I'm touching lives in that way. And that's what I want my platform to stand for. So beyond, social media, the public stuff, the modeling, the acting, the influencing, business owner, whatever you have, an entrepreneur, I'm just affecting lives of the people, and I'm helping impact in a positive way. And that's just kind of what my challenge is for myself daily, is to improve upon relationship building, doing what God has for me to do. Despite that, having fun and enjoying life, because you get one life. Yeah, and it can be overwhelming. Pat Sanders just said that, because people can take and drain from you at times, and you got to go recharge at times, especially when you're an empath and you just feel people's pain. I got to understand and know you can't save and help everybody, but what you can do is that if you tried it and they didn't listen, some people don't. But the thing is, I tried. I gave it my best, and that's what it's all about. But this is a rewarding position for me to be in. Like I said, I love helping people, not just our people, but everybody across the board. I don't care if you black, brown, yellow, gay, straight, no matter what it is, you're going to encounter that in life. And disability, I'm going to tell you, doesn't have a color. It just doesn't. Disability,
It really does.
it
Is.
affects everybody.
Mhm.
So it's just really, really rewarding. And I have to say, for all our guests who've been on here, I've been in this role since, what is it, January 5th or 6th, I signed my contract. Since then, I would say just the magnitude and outpour of people privately messaging me, DMing me, texting me. My inboxes have been flooded saying, yo, thank you, man. You guys spoke to me in the last message you guys had last week, Tuesday or Thursday, or hey, you know what? I shared a moment where, I actually cried or shed a tear. It made me think about something that I went through in my life. Or it made me acknowledge, hey, my mom has cancer. She's had breast cancer for 6 years. She made it through, but that was a dark place for me to be in while she was going through chemo. And you know what? It kind of put things in perspective on what she was dealing with. I didn't understand her ailment. I didn't understand her having cancer and having to go to, facility and being cold and being hooked up to tubes and having ports all over her body, and then coming home tired and fatigued and not be able to be a mom to me. And I got mad and jealous, thinking, okay, it was about her and that she was just always tired, not knowing she was actually going through something that was transforming her mind, as well as her body at the same time. Cancer just sucks the life out of you. So, that's one of those things where you actually have to have positivity around you in order for you to kind of thrive and feed off that. So I just try to be a light, a beacon of light. And if I'm able bodied, even if, God forbid something happened to me, physically, I'm still going to try to do my best to help and serve others. So I do want to ask you a question, Dr. Barrington, just while we're talking, flip it a little bit. I want to ask, you started this foundation, I believe, over a year ago. You brought 2 new people on board. How is it handling and managing just the growth, exponential growth of 100 Shades within literally this last 6 months, 7 months of this year?
I think the last 2 months I've really felt the weight of it.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it's overwhelming. I guess that's the best thing I can say. It's overwhelming, and I've found that I need to be at least 2 or 3 people deep, that it's just me that's in the forefront and being able to bring you on. I think one of the disadvantages is that we're not in the same city, but it has been extremely advantageous for the business because it's almost like we have 2 locations, one here in Michigan and one in Atlanta.
We do.
And we do. And we actually, we do. And so it's like we have 2 locations and managing them both. Are we both saying the same message? Do we need to do one just a little bit differently than we do the other? So that's something that, yes, here, and she's beautiful picture. And it's trying to figure out how do I need to tailor and making sure that the Georgia office is really shored up, along with everything that's happening here. And how often do we need to, spend some time, you come spend some time here in Michigan, and then I come and spend some time down in Georgia to make sure, like, okay, is this all set? And really working towards that. I didn't think that it had grown as quickly or even as big. Because sometimes, when you are a person that lives with a disability every single day, when I get off of here, it's going to be like, okay, how many hours have I been in my chair? Is my body starting to become spastic? And it's like, yep, I'm feeling some spasticity. So I have to lay down and give the body an opportunity to rest from being in the wheelchair. And so in those moments, 100 Shades of Disability doesn't seem like it's a big deal because of who I am, the person.
Yeah. And I think sometimes when you're in it, it's almost like a relationship. You don't see the toxicity that can really happen in a relationship. You don't see the nuances in the everyday bad behavior, just what you accept. Not saying this is bad, but maybe that was a bad example. But the point is when you're in it,
I'm like, you think this is toxic?
No. Like, who hurt you? Nobody hurt me. No. I'm good.
I'm like, is it bad touch? Stranger danger? No. What's happening?
No, we're good. No, let's use a different scenario. So when you're in it, you normally don't see the seeing the forest for the trees. You know what I'm saying? Is my example. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. So when you're submerged, you're on the ground level, you're putting in the work, you're doing the ground leg service, the door to door, the street team, what may have you, you may not see everything from the top point of view. So, I know being from the outside looking in at times and being away just by sheer location, I see the impact being felt by this great organization. And it's meaningful. Like I said, I don't know too many organizations that are doing this and shedding light and giving people platforms to speak about. We see things on music. We see things on art and entertainment. We see things, you got Drink Champs. You got so many different type of podcasts that are talking about socialism, social media, things that's going on, things in the streets as far as for civic engagement, civically, police brutality, Black Lives Matter movement. There's a lot of different causes out there, but none really specifically tailored for people with disabilities. And I think that affects and afflicts a lot of people that they may not talk about. I think people aren't really truly honest with it because they feel like there's a stigma associated with saying, hey, I need some help. It's okay. I know somebody very close to me, very dear to me, that recently just said, hey, I need to get some counseling. I need to figure out what's going on. To me, that takes a lot of strength and courage to do that. The fact that you just can admit that lets me know you're in the right frame of mind to say, hey, let me stop myself. I need help. Let's seek help and see what the problem is and go from there. That's the first step. But I do feel like, we kind of grow up in a society where they say, okay, if something is wrong with you mentally, then you're crazy. There's something wrong with you. And I think there's a crazy in all of us in whatever form that comes out, so that's something you have to, seek yourself. That's something you got to dig within. And that takes just a person really looking into them. And not everybody has the courage to stand up and do that. So I know for me,
hold on.
Go ahead.
We do have a comment here from Empress. Okay. We want to give a shout
Okay.
out. She was also on the show earlier in the year, and she's all the way in Texas. And she says, Dr. Barrington has definitely enhanced my life to help me to say no, show up authentically as Empress, and learn my value, whether I'm in a meeting with a millionaire or an average day person. It's value. Gratitude, Queen. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. We want to give a shout out to Tanya Wilkins, who's watching. Shayna Thomas, she is, in Maryland. And we have Vandora Butler. How are you, Vandora? And we have Tina, who is in Rhode Island. Dawn Pace is watching. So we've got some great folks. We have really expanded. We are in 50 states and in 9 countries. So I'm just really excited about that. And to have 2 offices, one here in Michigan, one in Georgia. Just never would have thought, 8 years ago, to be here, to have someone like Richard Smallwood come on the show. Me? This little chick? Yeah. But I have to say thank you to you for making that happen. To have Yana Crawley on here. We got a great comment from Jess. She says, it also allows, thank you. Wow.
You never know the impact it has on people.
Wow.
And that's why what we do is so important. Sometimes it's just good to sit back and reflect on the accomplishments, smell the roses while they're there, give people their roses while they're alive. Trust me, because as we can see from 2020 and now, we don't know what's going to happen with this COVID. My son said today, the COVID variant, I just talked to him today, where we just don't know what can happen with that. And life is so short. So now is really the time to get yourself together. And that's from the inside out. I really am a strong proponent of that. In whatever form that looks like for you, your form of help or getting it may just be talking to somebody, going to counseling, giving back, volunteering, getting involved in your community. Those are a lot of different things you can do with that. But I really want to put a charge out there to people to just really take a step back and open their eyes and really see what's around them. Who can, people always look up saying, hey, I want to hand up. I want to let me look up to get help, or, who's the big fish, who's on and popping, who's popular. And sometimes popular doesn't necessarily mean impact. Sometimes you may have to look to the left or right of you first, relationship wise, laterally, just to see who's around you that you can actually really truly impact that's in your life. And that's one thing that I've done with my relationships. When we brokered the deal and said, hey, let's bring me on, the first thing I thought about was, wait, what are truly my strengths with this company? How can I be an asset? The asset is relationship. That's exactly what I've done.
Yes.
Maintained in my daily endeavors when it came to modeling acting. A lot of people don't know, I came here 5 years ago, 2016, working in management as a lead manager, supply chain demand for a company, a Fortune 500 company, private company in the warehouse. I was in warehousing. I was a manager, supervisor. I've always had talent. I've always been a creative and didn't really hone in on that. Coming here helped open the door for that. And, I shot a passion piece, a project that I was truly passionate about. And from there, it's just gone up. But the thing I always stuck with me was relationships never burn a bridge. And I learned that early on in life is that you can never truly burn a bridge, because you never know when you have to cross that bridge again. What's going on, Jason? You never know when you have to cross that bridge again. And that's something that I've really taken, those soft skills from being on time, being punctual, treating people with respect, not talking money on set, what have you, keeping things where somebody tells you something, having confidence and having the ability where people can trust you and you can trust them. That's really, really key when it comes to relationships. And so I've done a lot in this industry, no manager, no agent. I always say that to people because it can be done. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of you really downplaying and really being a vessel for people. Also, you just have to really have a lot of integrity, because word travels fast and people will not want to work with you. The industry is
Absolutely.
small. This small, this small. So, you know, it's just like spreading on wildfire, and you're at the water cooler or you on break with somebody in lunchroom and you hear about something somebody else did, or a supervisor or a coworker. You don't want to work with them. You don't want to talk about them because they didn't told somebody's business, or, you know, somebody then did something to somebody, you know, whatever. So that's something that I really just pride myself on. And that's what I carried over into working with this, you know, nonprofit here, and this opportunity in January. And it literally engulfed me from being just a job, but something saying, wait, I'm actually passionate about this. And I've been operating in this fashion, not even knowing it the whole time. It's just really, I just literally shifted my spectrum and my scope on how I'm viewing things with relationships with people. So now versus impacting them visually, I can impact from the inside out, from the heart, from the mind, you know? So I just really, really love that dynamic of it, that I'm meeting and encountering so many different people. It's just really, it's a blessing. It really is a blessing. So I love that.
We got to
Dr. Barrington,
We got to give a shout out
pay some bills.
to Tracy Walls, who is from the DC area. Wow, today's a great day. And to Phoenix Winbush, oh my goodness, this is my little heart. This is my niece. And so I am so excited. She says, "Hi guys, LOL. I finally caught a live when it was actually live. So I appreciate you watching the replay and having an opportunity to see us live." And it is now 4:31, and we want to say thank you so much for tuning in. You are rolling on the road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. Dave is on assignment today, and we want to say thank you so much to the Deaf or Hard of Hearing, who has rolled with us since May 7th of 2020. We've been at this since May 7th, 2020, 3 days a week. Wow. We want to say thank you to Disability Advocates of Kent County and to 100 Shades of Disability, who sponsor us to do what it is that we do. And we believe that we do what we do well. And we want to say thank you so much to our guest, Gerard Singh, AKA also known as Mama's Baby. Yeah, but he is not only a talented actor. You can see him in many of the Tyler Perry series as extras. You can see him in The Bank, in Sisters, yes, the new series with Tyler Perry, and so many other shows that he has, and been on OWN, VH1. But the job that I like that he has the best is he is the producer and the placement director for 100 Shades of Disability. So a lot of the guests that you see that we have on here, that's his responsibility. And I want to say thank you, because I didn't realize how much of my time and how much that really took out of me, having to do all of the work. And it's so nice that we have a really great system. And I think that it's been working really well. And he does have some other, when you sign a contract and then in fine print, they say, and other responsibilities as needed or required. I think we need to put that in big print, because he's done a lot of the other things as needed and required. And it has just been awesome. One of the things I wanted to go back to, though, is that you were talking about my father, who I got the first experience of what it was like, or to be in relationship with someone that had a disability. And one of the things that he would always say is, don't talk to my eyes and don't talk to my hair. The older that he got, the whiter his hair was, and he was blind. And so he would say, don't talk to my eyes. Don't talk to my eyes. If anything frustrated him more was when someone spoke to him as if he didn't understand, couldn't comprehend, or yelled at him. He says, I'm blind, I'm not deaf. Doesn't mean you need to talk louder. We can carry on a conversation. But right before he died November 16th of 2020, And if you go back, you can see the replay. It's actually on YouTube at 100 Shades of Disability, as well as 100 Shades of Disability on Facebook. And you can find the show on Rolling on the Road. And he came on the show October 28th. We had a long conversation, but right after that, I went with him to the bank. He purchased a home that he had been renting for 22 years. Everybody has their own goals, but for him, it was, at first we said, hey, you want to move? We talked to my lender. We looked at some areas, and then he called and he says, Kim, one of my goals has always been that before I leave this earth, I'm going to buy this house. I've been here for 22 years. I got enough equity in here. This is where I lost my sight. And then I gained insight. And I said, all right, now you're preaching. But I just remember that moment in the bank as we sat with the man that owned the house. And all the man kept saying was, I don't want anybody to come after me. I said, sir, why do you think someone's going to come after you? And he says, well, all he talked about was about him not being sighted. He just said, well, I don't want anybody to think that I took advantage of a blind man. I said, but sir, I can see. And I said, and he has insight. I said, I have sight and he has insight. I said, we've read through this contract. We know what we're doing. And I said, he's more than comfortable with this. And so he just kept going on and on and on. And, well, is the police going to wait for me? Is somebody going to, file charges against me? And my dad just looked at him. And when I say looked at him, he did, because he turned his face, because he listened to his voice, and he looked at him. And he said, sir, he said, how dare you? He said, we are sitting in PNC Bank. He says, they are typing out a cashier's check to you for the whole price of the house. He says, my daughter has read over the contract. He said, because, you may see me with a whole bunch of people. He said, but when it comes down to taking care of business, he said, this one is the one. And so he said, if she's read it and she said that it was okay, he says, then this is what we're getting ready to do. And he says, how dare you disrespect me? He says, and talk to my eyes and not talk to me as a person. And the man just looked at him and he was just like, what? I didn't do that to you. He said, you have disrespected me for the last time today. He says, he says to the banker, he says, hey, do you guys have this check ready for this man? And they said, yes, Bishop Durham, we got this. We moving, sir. We got it right here. And he says, Kimberly? I said, yes, sir. Where do I need to sign? So I put his hand, I put the pen in his hand and put it right where he needed to start signing. And then, we have this way. And then I put my finger on the other end so he knows to stay along the line. And when he signed that cashier's check, he said, because I'm going to put my name on this, and he signed it. And he handed it to him. He says, now today, he said, you're going to respect me as a man as I hand you this check. He said, you will not talk to my eyes. He said, you will not talk to my hair. He says, I could have lived with you talking to my color better than I can you talking to my eyes. And I just was like, wow. I appreciated that about him. And it really empowered me. Because we never think about those nuances. To you just saw him as this great person and all that he could do. And, hey, that's my Bishop. But, what he dealt with internally as a person with a disability. And, when I go back and I look at that video, and he just said how it made him feel that he got lost in his own backyard because he couldn't see where he was, to only find out that he was only 2 or 3 feet away from the door. It gave me a whole nother insight before I ever got to this point on, number one, how I would treat others, and number two, how I could advocate for myself.
Mhm. And you know, you make a really good point there, Dr. Barrington. The advocating piece is really, really key because a lot of people, they'll get a disability and sulk and they being themselves, and they don't really know how to assimilate and or how to really navigate. Okay, now that I have this affliction in me, I have this going on.
Hmm.
How will society accept me? How will my family, my friends, my old life? And literally, you get a different life. It's literally you have to transform and maneuver some things. If I'm used to going down 3 flights of stairs and I have some leg issues, a back issue, or side issues, or you know, I'm crippled or lame in a way, it's going to be a lot harder to get down those 3 flights of stairs
Hmm.
every day that I'm used to going up and down every single day. So you have to make those life adjustments. And like I said, I just really am thankful for people who are have the courage and strength to get help, seek help, even in the midst of going through treatments, going through doctor's visits. That stuff is draining. I mean, it literally
Yeah.
is emotionally draining, and it can get daunting where you can feel dark and feel by yourself at times. You know, so for people who aren't taking advantage of drugs and alcohol or abusing themselves or others in the midst of their pain and hurt, that says a lot. You know, yeah, that's just a really interesting notion that you have to kind of maneuver and recreate your life in a way that is suitable for you and for the people around you. But you need support and help. And I think some of the people that are really truly successful at it, they have a lot of help and support. So kudos to those people who, you know, have fans and family, you know, moms and dads and husbands and spouses that are there to help pick up the pieces because it's not easy. It's just not easy. Every day where you have to, you know, emotionally help somebody, maybe physically help them, you know, the people that are going in, bathing people and changing people and helping them out. Those are things we really don't talk about. And people always view it as a geriatric form where when people get old and gray. But there's a saying that says, hey, you know, you're a baby when you're young, you're a baby when you're old. Because, some societies, Asian culture, they take care of their older people a little bit more, I would say. It's more celebrated. They have larger communities and they live a little bit longer just because they actually appreciate and they experience the life. So the younger people, they actually go there, live with them, and they help, you know, bathe them, take care of them, sit with them, and spend time with them, and they go back to their families for a period of time just to show them humility and teach them respect and responsibility. That's something we probably need to bring back here. But I
Yes.
would say versus you sending your loved ones off to a home or a nursing home or a different care facility, it's the same thing with your child. If honestly, if you can have your children in daycare versus having a relative or a family member watch them, it's that kind of thing because of the love being there. Everybody can't afford it, I understand, or may not have the help and support, but it's just kind of that logic and that thinking of just having that extra attention, that extra love. We all want to feel loved. We all want to feel special. Disability or not, that's just a human nature to want to feel loved and feel adored and feel appreciated. And I think a lot of times people who do have disabilities feel unappreciated. And those same sentiments that you felt, when you said, for 5, 6 years going up by the garbage can because there wasn't a walk for you to get up a ramp, and to have that feeling every day, you have to literally pass through, a garbage can to get to your home, in and out entry. That's a really bad feeling. And hopefully, whatever building you were living in, that building is either burned down or number two, they've actually changed some of the settings in the front to make it accessible for people with wheelchairs and or have handicaps or have parking spots available. I remember you going through the parking spot situation too, where they didn't have designated parking. These are some things we just truly don't think about as able-bodied people at times. And I
Mhm.
think that's something if we just took a step back and if it was affecting your mom, your dad, your auntie, your uncle, truly would you have the same plight or would you turn a deaf ear to that? So I definitely appreciate that your testimony on that and your story. So
Wow.
so I have another question for you, Dr. Barrington, as you kind of gather yourself and we're kind of coming to a close a little bit. Let's speak about the future of 100 Shades of Disability. What do you see in the future coming on the horizon? What do you have on deck coming up? What's in it in store for you as the talent yourself? Because as you guys know, Dr. Barrington also gets asked to do speaking engagements and travel. She ministers as well. She's a licensed minister. She just got her second doctorate today. excuse me, not today, but earlier this year, a few months back, she got her doctorate. I know during COVID, they didn't really have a true kind of a ceremony per se in Michigan there, but those are some things to be celebrated. So what do you see on the horizon for 100 Shades of Disability? And what do you see on the horizon for yourself, as a speaker, influencer, and, a person with a disability with the cause?
I think that I would really like to move you up and give you more responsibility of what it is that I do. That's probably first and foremost. We've had this conversation about that piece. I really would like to write more, do some peer review as far as, having a doctoral degree, writing in some of the magazines and talking about some of these experiences, or even just writing articles of encouragement or letting them know how they can change the system where they are. Just talk about some of the things that I've been able to accomplish, giving people outlines on now that you've become disabled or now that you've acquired a disability, or if your disability changes. I was 47 years old. I was an empty nester, enjoying my grandchildren, ready for another phase in life. And bam, I was hit with a disability. I get up to go to prayer, and now it's left me in a wheelchair. And so to talk about that process, maybe to have books or manuals for the family to go through, now that everybody's life has changed. These are some of the things that you need to look forward to. This is how you can help your family by sitting on I was appointed by the governor to sit on the Michigan Council for Rehabilitative Services. One of the things I do get to do that I like is writing policies and procedures, things that will change the quality of life for persons with disabilities and their families. Because we don't think about, if you have a child that is born with a disability, or let's say Johnny is out playing football, he gets hit by that linebacker and bam, he has a spinal cord injury and now he's in a wheelchair. Well, you have 3 other children besides him, and how it really affects the family unit. To talk about the other children, how is it making them feel now that things have to be moved around and changed? To them, it's like, why he getting special attention? It's not that, well, he now has a disability. Children see that he's getting more attention than we do. We have to change the whole house, or we have to move. I don't like this. Nobody did that for me when I fell down and skinned my knee. Well, babe, needing a Band-Aid on your knee and being in a wheelchair now and not being able to use your legs at all. Those are 2 different, scenarios. But maybe doing more writing to talk about that, to help with the family unit, help with some of the disparity between receiving services and for the Black and Brown communities. Not only did the pandemic really shine a light on it, but as I was going through the process, there were not a lot of persons of color that were taking advantage, especially as a veteran, that were available to improve the quality of their life. So the VA has kind of authorized me to start working on having those conversations. And so I was on their radio station. They have 11 million listeners, and it's in 3 states. And it's called The Veterans Perspective. So I got an opportunity to do it. They interviewed me, and I think that was really great. But just being able to get out there more to talk about the experiences. And I think that's on a personal level. For 100 Shades of Disability, I have been approached if we could do some type of pageantry, since I do know so many people across the United States. How can I assist with that? Or either having an award ceremony to highlight the works and have different categories for persons with disabilities. So that's a conversation that you and I will have next week about that, on what can we do to really highlight those persons that have disabilities, because there are a lot. Some of them have formed their own organizations where they live, and they're always looking for assistance. So maybe we already have in place vocal confidence coaching. We want to say thank you so much to Deborah Anderson, who provides that service for 100 Shades of Disability. We have people all across the United States that have gone through the process, and some have been on the show, some have not, but have reached out and say, hey, I would love to be an advocate. How do I do that? So we work with them and find out where we think they would best have the greatest impact. And we prepare them to be able to talk about it in a fluid way and not be nervous or feel intimidated, and be able to answer the questions. And so we're excited about that, but maybe expanding it a little bit more and having people to maybe speak in areas, with insurance companies. I do get a lot of calls for that, saying that, how did you get that particular, occupational piece that you needed, or an equipment, or this is what I think can help with the improvement for my day-to-day living. And it's like, well, this is the process that I went through. Oh, well, I said, what kind of insurance do you have? Well, this is what I have. What do I say to them? So I think really, again, it goes back to having more manuals, more writing, to be able to give materials out to people in different states. And this is how you do it. Teaching them.
You know what that sounds like, Dr. Barrington? Couple things. Well, one thing she didn't mention too, that 100 Shades of Disability does as well. We have a scholarship as well for kids with Asperger's disease, and also if they have a autoimmune disease, and or if they have dyslexia, and they also are autistic as well. We give out learning pads or iPads designed for them with our hardware already in place, insured, Apple Care. And they get those iPads to ensure that they have a quality at life when it comes to the educational piece, which is another component of our community engagement that we love to help our community with. So I just want to mention that. But I want to say, it sounds like you want to run for office, really. It sounds like public life, public office is something that might be in the future horizon. I don't know if you're getting vetted, for a state position, a local legislative position, or something civically there in Grand Rapids, Kent County, West Michigan. I don't know, whether it be on a state level, local level, or regional level. It sounds like there's something there for you to do. So, that's probably another component I probably foresee in the future horizon. You really sound like an advocate and a voice for the people, is what we desperately need, especially for somebody who's a veteran, a woman, and a person of color as well in these days and age. So
this right here is a product of our iPad program. This was the first, this is the first book that they did. And here is the second. So I want to send out a special kudos to the Fords. And they did this because they received an iPad. One of the things we do is the iPad, you also get an iPencil with it. So, I mean, we don't just hand your iPad. They get 2 years of Apple Care, as he stated, and you get an Apple Pencil. Well, with the iPad, it already has a program loaded on it. Well, yeah, because you have to, if you ordered an iPad before, you have to decide what kind of programming you want on there. So I make sure that each person has something that is kind of tailored for them. And what they've done, they've created 2 books out of the program that was already loaded onto the iPad. And they are on Amazon, so you can find them. This one is The Littlest Turkey by Charles Ford. You can get that on Amazon. And you can get Leonard the Lizard. And he is a friend of The Littlest Turkey. His name is T.
Can we give the audience just a little bit about Mr. Charles Ford and just his background?
And then his
what
wife,
was his disability?
His wife. So in the second book, it talks about his wife's disability. Her disability is it's called fibroid dysplasia ossification progressive. So in here,
what is that, Dr.
I'm going to show you in the book.
Okay.
Let's see, we can do this. It's got the little it shows the little x-ray. See, you can kind of see it gives you an x-ray of what the body looks like, and it says it's a different kind of bone because Leonard's body makes way too much bone.
Okay.
So That's what happens when and it's kind of this is one of those rare ones. And so if they when they have all this extra bone, it makes it hard. So if they bump or break a bone, it's going to create more bone and make them do like this.
Got you. Got you.
So his wife is in the wheelchair, and he assists her and himself. They work together. She is the impetus for this. Yes, sir.
No, that's really beautiful.
So
The fact that the iPad, our giveaway for the community engagement and peace is really impacting lives, and to the point where this couple has written a book. It's in a children's story form, correct? The book?
yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which is easy to read, and you said it's also found on Amazon?
Both books are on Amazon, and it just reads, it says, Dr. Barrington, thank you so much for your support of helping me with my dream of being an author. I hope you enjoyed this new book in the the Peacock series.
That's beautiful. I think we need to, Dr. Barrington, if we can, let's put that link on there for the Amazon for the people. I like to buy 5 copies of a piece of both of those books, so 10 total, just to support and show love on my behalf for me and from the company as well. But, like I said, I said it earlier, the impact, you never know what people make. Jess came on. She's a former, show guest as well. These are just some of the things that people don't talk about. I don't care about what car you're driving, what you got on your feet, what kind of clothes, how big your house is. These are things that are really, truly impacting people in a positive way. I'm sure that doing this book with this couple was therapeutic for them. It probably helped with her therapy. Essentially, she's bound to a wheelchair, and to have her husband, side by side with her, helping her curtail and curate a book, to sell on Amazon. I'm sure they're not doing it for the money, but the fact is they did it. They did something great. That's just something I love, and I want to definitely highlight. It says, we got a comment by Ms. Clayton. Teresa says, Dr. Kimberly, sounds like there needs to be a blog or community forum to incorporate others across the country too. That can be a way to write back and speak to your experience as well. I think that's really good. That's something we'll probably implement, Ms. Clayton. If you can, text me when we get off the live here so we can talk about how to implement that. Thank you.
Sounds good. Well, one of the things that did happen, I'm really excited. A great shout out to teacher Felicia Robinson down in Houston, Texas. She teaches 7th grade. She had 3 classes. There were a total of 78 students, and they had to choose someone who was a change agent, and they chose me. And so I did a Zoom all the way down to Houston, Texas, and each session had a moderator. I did 3 hours with 7th graders. Can you believe it? Been a long time. And so one of the things we did, we talked about this, and the first book was coming out when we talked about it. And so I bought a book for every person in the class. So I bought 78 books, plus I did one for Miss Robinson and for the principal. So that was 78, 79, 80 books that I sent. I think I bought a total of maybe almost 100, because I got, of course, one for each one of my grandchildren. But the inscription that they got, this one doesn't have the inscription, but it was because Dr. Barrington is a change agent. She was able to assist us with this book. And now you have the book because of her. And one of the things they asked me was, how do you become a change agent? And what I said to them was, if Maria wears glasses and everybody is teasing Maria about wearing glasses, and John says, guess what? Today, we're not going to tease Maria about her glasses. We actually think they're cool. We like that color on her. She likes pink, and she got them in hot pink. And guess what? We may need glasses someday. And so it's cool to wear glasses, and we're not going to tease her. And from that day forward, number one, Maria feels better about herself in these classes. And number 2, he has now helped her to feel better about herself, but he stood up for her. And I said, and he has changed her life for the rest of her school history. I said, because he did that for her. Because now they're going to all respect, hey, girl, I like your glasses. And then next thing you know, she's going to start buying glasses to go with all her outfits. Y'all know how I do. I get lots of compliments about all my glasses I like to wear. to match my outfits. But anyways, that is how you become a change agent. Just standing up for somebody, changing how people think about somebody else. You can do it. It's something that simple. And they all said, that's all we have to do. I said, that's all we have to do. And just to hear the testimonies that 78 seventh graders are like, hey, I want to be a change agent too. I can do this. So maybe, we need to think about doing things on, the younger level. Right now, we work with adults, but maybe we need to have more students come in. I know I did have an opportunity to do mock interviews with some 11th graders that are in special ed, and they wanted to get jobs for the summer. So just to come in and help them to learn how to interview for a job and talk about what their abilities are and not focus so much on their disabilities. So it's nice, being able to get out of the office and do more things like that is what I really enjoy.
That's beautiful. That's good. Really good.
And look at the comment. We have another great comment here. Oh, are you gonna read the comment?
Oh, sure. It was delayed on mine. I didn't know it was.
You didn't see it yet? Okay. It says, "What a wonderful."
No, I see it now. Go ahead.
Oh, what a wonderful gesture, Gerard. Your support for first-time authors are priceless. Oh, yeah, they actually have the same name. And in case you guys don't know, this is his twin. Yeah. So we want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Rolling on the Road. I just want to give a shout out that we've had people watching on the show today, the live show on YouTube, people live on my personal Facebook page, people on Rolling on the Road, people on 100 Shades of Disabilities Facebook page, and they have been watching on Twitch with 100 Shades of Disability. So we want to say thank you so much for all of you who tuned in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. As you can see, the information is scrolling. What it was today was What's Your Thoughts Thursday. Guest was Gerard Singh. He's been on BET, VH1, OWN. Yes, he has his own. You see his wonderful beard. Urban Skin Prescription. He is the producer and the placement director for 100 Shades of Disability. You can reach out to him. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please reach out to him, and his information is scrolling along the bottom. You can inbox him on, I think it's called direct messaging, on Instagram. His inbox on Facebook.
Hit the DM. Hit the DM.
And he will get you on the show. I think we're running about 2 or 3 weeks out, and we would love to have you on the show. So thank you so much for tuning in. We want to say thank you so much to the Deaf of Hard of Hearing for rolling with us since May 7th of 2020. We want to say thank you to Disability Advocates of Kent County and to 100 Shades of Disabilities for sponsoring us to do what it is that we do best, to just go around the country, highlight all that's happening, bringing you some great news and first in some instances. So if you have not been vaccinated and you are able to get vaccinated, we are asking that you please, 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 please get vaccinated. Many of you have your own personal stories. We've had guests here to talk about their experiences with COVID, but I'm telling you, this Delta variant is something that is unparalleled. So please, 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 if you are able to, and make sure you mask up. Yeah. Well, until next week, please be safe and be well.